Hello everyone. Now in this video we are going to discuss about the northern plain and the peninsular plateau that lies in India. If we talk about the northern plains, so basically it has been formed by the various rivers that flows from Himalayas like Indus, Ganga, Brahmaputra. Brahmaputra in northeastern part, Indus in northwestern part and Ganga in central part. And not only these rivers but every tributaries of these rivers too. They have bring down the sediments of Himalayas to the foothills of Himalaya and created a area which is very fertile and hence it is densely populated. This is the densely populated area of India because of the good production of food crops. Why is it so fertile? Because almost every year we can say that floods are come to this area, floods occur to this area. This area has the alluvial soil which is very fertile, and when the fertility is good, climatic condition is good, then the population will live happily in this area. So that is why it is the area where which is very densely populated. And with the help of all the rivers and its tributary, this is the area where rivers ensures a adequate amount of water supply. And if we talk about the climatic condition, then it is good for most of the crops. It is favorable for the most of the crops that are grown in India. So that is why this is an very important area that lies in India. Next, so basically what happened, the rivers flow from Himalayas, flow from a great altitude, and they cause destructions, they cause erosions. And when they came to the floodplains, the speed of the river reduced, the velocity of a river reduced, and that is why, due to the gentle slopes of plains, the river creates riverine islands. Okay, so due to the reduction in velocity of river, that is why the riverine islands are made up of. Now, if we talk about the division of northern plains, then we will got to know that the western part of the plain is referred as Punjab Plains, which has been created by the Indus River and its tributaries. If we talk about the tributaries of Indus River, they are Jhelum, Chenab, Ravi, Byas, Satluj. This area has so many doabs. What are the doabs? Basically, area between two rivers are known as doab. As like area between Jhelum and Chenab could be known as a doab. So this is the kind of thing doab is. Okay. Now the third point is the second part of northern plains is created by Ganga plain. It is basically expanded to the Ghaggar river to Tista river, and it actually covers the most of the states that lies in North India, as like Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, West Bengal, Haryana, and so on. Okay. Now the fourth point, the third division of India of northern plain is Brahmaputra plain, that is created by Brahmaputra river. And now, according to the variation in relief feature, northern plains can be divided into four regions. We have divided northern plains according to the rivers, and in that case, we have divided it into three parts: Indus, Ganga, and Brahmaputra plains. But apart from that, we also can divide northern plain into fourth part according to the region, as like the Bhabar, the Terai, the Bhangar, the Khadar. Okay. So basically, what are these? If we see in this picture that is shown here, you can see that the uppermost part of the Himalayas foothill is known as Bhabar. What happens actually here when the rivers hits the rocks of Himalayas, it breaks down into the pebbles, in big pebbles. Okay, so that pebbles create a area that is known as Bhabar. The quality of this area is all the stream floats underground in this area. And if we talk about the Terai, it is the region where all the streams come upon the surface of earth and create a swampy area. After this, we have a Bhangar, the foothills of Himalaya. Bhangar is a old alluvial soil area, and after that, at last, we have Khadar, which is in floodplains where every year floods are occurring. And when floods come, they will bring some sediments and consolidate that sediments at the floodplains, and that is why the floodplain area is most productive area of India. And after this, Deccan Plateau starts. If you see, it is a okay. Now we will understand the different things of Bhabar, Khadar, Terai, and Bhangar. Okay, now Bhabar, Terai, we will understand both of these. So basically, the rivers after descending from the mountains deposits pebbles in a narrow belt of about 8 to 16 kilometer in width, lying parallel to the slopes of Shivalik. So basically, rivers create a narrow belt that is having width of 8 to 16 kilometer, and they pour some pebbles into it, and it happens parallel to the slopes of Shivaliks. We know that Shivalik is the southernmost part of Himalaya, and this is the part where we could say that it is the part of northern plain, and we could define it as Bhabar. And all the streams, all the rivers, all the tributaries seems to be disappear here, and they floats underground between those pebbles, and that is known as Bhabar belt. And if we talk about the Terai, the area where rivers re-emerge and create a wet, swampy, and marshy region, that is known as Terai, where the rivers re-emerge to the surface of earth. This is known as Terai, and this area is thickly populated, thickly forested region and full of wildlife. This was not today, because we have cut down this forest for the agriculture, for the cultivation, and now we don't have that much amount of forest here. Now, Bhangar and Khadar. Bhangar, The largest part of northern plain is formed by older alluvium. It lies above the floodplains of rivers and presents a trachyl feature, terrace-like feature. This part is known as Bhangar. So basically, what I have showed you in the picture, after Terai, there is a region which is known as Bhangar, and it is made up of older alluvial soil, and it lies above the floodplains where every year floods occur. Uh, Bhangar is above that floodplain, and it has a terrace-like feature because it has some height if we compare this to floodplains, and that is why this area is known as Bhangar. And at last, newer younger deposit of floodplain are called Khadar. I have told you that every year in floodplain floods occur and the soil get renewed every year because the sediments that have been flowed by the rivers and brought from Himalayas to the floodplains will consolidate at that place and will create a new soil, and that is very fertile soil, and we call this area as Khadar. And this was the northern plain. Okay, now we will talk about the peninsular plateau. So basically, peninsular plateau is a and tableland and composed of old crystalline igneous metamorphic rock. So first of all, you need to understand what are the metamorphic and igneous rock. So igneous rocks are those who are made up from the magma, and metamorphic rocks are those when igneous and sedimentary rocks changes their state and breaks down, and then a new rock is formed that is known as metamorphic rocks. So peninsular plateau is made up of igneous and metamorphic rocks. It is a tableland which has certain height because the northern plains of India, if we compare peninsular plateau to the northern plains of India, then we will got to know that the peninsular plateau's average height from the sea level is greater than northern plain. Okay, so next point, it is the part of Gondwana, one of the oldest land masses. So if we think about Gondwana, Gondwana is a kind of land. We assume that it was the first land that has been made up on the earth's surface. It has been break down from the Pangaea and created a Gondwana land, and due to the plate tectonics movement, it has been come to the this area where we are right now. So if we think of peninsular plateau, we should know that this is the one of the oldest land masses of earth, not only India but of earth. Okay, now it could be divided broadly into two parts, that are central highland and Deccan plateau. Okay, now we will study about the central highland and Deccan plateaus. Okay, the first part, the part of peninsular plateau lying to the north of Narmada river, covering a major area of Malwa plateau, is known as central highland. Okay, basically, if you want to divide the two major peninsular plateau area, then you should recognize the river Narmada, because it is very important. If you go to the north of Narmada, you will reach to the central highland, and if you go to the south of Narmada, then you will reach to Deccan Plateau. Okay, so Central Highland is an area lying to the north of Narmada River, and it has covered majority of area of Malwa Plateau. Now, if we recognizes other physical features that it has around, we got to know that Aravali Hills are in its northwest area according to Central Highland. Aravali Hills are in northwest area. Rajasthan lies in western part of Central Highland. If we think about Vindhya and Satpura, that lies to the south of Central Highland, and Bundelkhand or Baghelkhand or Chota Nagpur, that lies to the east of Central Highland. Now, if we talk about the rivers that are found in the Central Highland, they are Chambal, Ken, Betwa, and if someone asks you the eastward extension of Central Highland, then it will be Chota Nagpur, because the Chota Nagpur is the eastward extension of Central Highland. One more thing, Central Highland is wider in its western area if we compare to its eastern area. Okay, now if we talk about Deccan Plateau, so basically it is a triangular landmass that lies south to the river Narmada. I have told you, whenever you want to differentiate between Central Highland and Narmada, you have to just told one point, that Narmada's south area is Deccan Plateau and the northern area is Central Highland. And now second part, the Deccan Plateau is higher in west and slopes gently eastward. So Deccan Plateau's height altitude is higher in western part of it, and then it slopes gently to the eastward, and then its height get reduced into eastward extensions. An extension of plateau is also in the northeast, locally known as Meghalaya, Karbi Anglong, and North Chachar Hill. Up the Deccan Plateau's extension is in the northeastern state that is known as Meghalaya. I will show you this in picture. That is known as Karbi Anglong and North Chachar Hill. And last part, the Meghalayas, they have some prominent hill like Garo, Mizo, Jayantia. Now if we see the pictures here, you will got to know the different parts here. As like this will be the Narmada river, and Narmada river's northern part will be considered as Central Highland, and southern part will be considered as Deccan Plateau, and this is the Chota Nagpur Plateau. Okay, now if we talk about the Meghalaya, we have seen that it is the Deccan Plateau's extension. Here it is. Okay, so basically it has been assumed that if we look at the Deccan Plateau, some part of Deccan Plateau somehow due to the cracks or some what, it is also connected Meghalaya. Some part of Deccan Plateau break down from here and went to this point. If we name is today, its name is Meghalaya. Okay, So this was the Peninsular Plateau. And that is it for today. We will discuss other thing into our next video. Till then everyone, take care, stay safe.